us three stellar profiles, people who have been there, done that, who are going to be talking to us about this beautiful tool that we have, which is called the camera. How do they use it? How do they bring out stories for the world to see, to savor, even 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line? So memories are extremely important because it's important that we're able to go back and relive them time and again. And here we have three artists who have been doing that for quite some time and with some grandeur, and that goes without saying. So we have with us, I'll start with the lady in the house, Ms. Megha Israni. She's surely an entrepreneur, an author, an artist, a storyteller, who started off as an actor and now chose to go behind the camera. And I'm pretty sure, knowing her, I would love to see her in front of camera sometime soon. She started Israni photography in the year 2011 with her brother Love Israni. And today they have captured, I would say captured photographs, but they captured emotions of over 600 weddings across the globe. Lovely having you here, Megha.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Right. Next we have Mr. Raja Jain. Okay. This profile is something that's going to make all of us feel extremely young. Thank you so much for doing that, Mr. Raja. Started so early in life, took forward his family legacy, which was already in the field of photography, chose to step in the year 2002, but his learning process started way back in 1992. Even as a student, he was always there helping his father, understanding the skill, the art, the nuances of something that we always love, which is the camera. And I chose to read out the list of awards and recognitions he has received, but then I realized he has a flight to catch in the next 2.5 hours, so I chose not to do that. So thank you so much, Mr. Raja, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And then we have another pillar when it comes to wedding photography, or in fact any form of photography. We have with us Mr. Ram Bhani. India's leading production house, one of India's leading production house with an extremely strong presence in the wedding vertical to start with. Also one of the pioneers of 3D wedding films in India. Today he has a 20+ team in his state-of-the-art production house based out of Andheri, Mumbai. So thank you so much, Mr. Ram, for joining us today. Great. So when three brilliant talents are with us, I have a few questions lined up, but this is a normal conversation that we're having. I wish we had a chai in hand. This would be termed as an adda. It's not a formal panel discussion because a lot of people are looking forward to the little nuances of your journey, the decisions that you made to get to where you are. So more insights into that, we would love listening to you. So to start with, I'm going to ask this question to Mr. Raja. 1992, when you started your journey, I don't think there was digital photography. Or was it already? Or were you already working with digital photography, or did you start with films and then move on to digital?
So it all started with basically as a news camera person. We used to do documentaries and news coverages for multiple channels at that point in time. I was probably the youngest camera journalist for NDTV at that point in time, and then I used to go on shoots with my dad earlier and to understand the integrity of how and what to do on field. And that's how it attracted me to get into this field and to find out more. And we started doing weddings in 2002 just by chance, and we were asked to do a wedding by my mentor, Mrs. Mayor Sarit ma'am. And she asked us to do that documentary style of wedding films, to apply that sense in weddings and to bring out the best out of those usual candid videos which were not there. So we tried to do that and it became a hit, and since then we've been doing weddings. It's been good 20 years now.
Interesting. So from an era where people were posing for cameras, the old docu style where you don't pose for cameras anymore. The camera is just there, capturing the emotion. Great transition. Now, so Megha, I just want to understand. I mean, of the three, you came into this field much later, but you created an aura for yourself. What triggered this shift from in front of camera to going behind camera? Whatever form you chose to.
I think firstly, I am extremely, extremely tiny in front of the two legends sitting here. So I'm very, very humbled to be here today. And what got me to shift from being in front of the camera, I think it was that one satisfaction. I was into the normal television daily soap drama. So what I did learn, so I learned a lot from there. So today what we do at my office or what we do in the business of weddings is a lot learned from my experiences of doing this for a good 3 years. But something that I always came back very dissatisfied as a person. I used to always come back, my friends used to tease me, oh, you're a mother, oh, you're doing a wife character. So I think I wasn't very happy with the characters that I was playing. So there was always that dissatisfaction of being an 18-year-old girl, but pretending to be a 28-year-old girl in the show that I was playing. And it just happened to me by chance when my brother wanted to do wedding photography. He had his friend's wedding and he said, just hop on and let's work on this project. And the kind of satisfaction that this industry gets you, I don't think anything on this earth gives you that satisfaction, and that good sleep is what I talk about. When you have a client who comes back to you and says, we watched this particular video or 20 times, you made us cry, or you're in our house for the next generations to come. So I think that reward and that satisfaction cannot be weighed with anything else, and that's what keeps you going even today. And I'm sure that's for everybody, that that appreciation and that satisfaction of work that you get because you're doing something so real, something so honest, and something which is not fictitious at all, right? Like you're not making people act at weddings, you're not creating stories which are fake, you're working with real clients. So I think that's what kept me going after my first experience of being just a friend's wedding, just out of helping her out, because my brother was a fashion photographer. He had the sensibilities of knowing what a good photographer would do. So I think that's how we got onto it, and it was just a beautiful journey, and from there on I think there's no looking back.
Interesting. Very beautifully said. Weddings are special indeed because they have all elements, they have all the emotions packed. So you need not create them. I'm pretty sure somebody's going to cry, all of them are going to laugh, somebody's going to dance, right? There's going to be some action happening around. So that's a great thing to capture. So thank you so much for joining this part of the industry. I hope you never have to play a 28-year-old when you're not, right? So let me move on to Mr. When was the first time you held the camera? And that's the first part of the question. And the second part of the question, when did you feel, okay, fine, I'm going to carry this for the rest of my life?
I think when I was in college, so there was a festival, so I just started with photography. I won Pentec 1000. And then I joined Dabura Fashion. I trained under him for fashion and all. And then it was Akshay Kumar's wedding. So the college told me, don't want to take pictures and all. So it was a very small wedding. There were 50 people on the terrace and we shot that wedding. Some candid pictures and all, and we loved it. Akshay was the and all of it. And then the learning just started.
Oh, I mean, I don't know how do you manage to make that thing sound so humble, right? Had I done that, I would be on the rooftop still there talking about it. Thank you so much. Yes, that's a very interesting way of putting it. Now, I'll go back to Mr. Raj. 92, you started learning. 2002, you launched your own brand, and today we are at 2021. What are the changes that you have mastered? That's the first part of the question. And the second part of the question is, what is the next change that you're preparing for? Love to hear.
Okay. So, when I started in 1992, it was, I would say, in terms of technology-wise, we weren't that great because we didn't have internet at that point in time. We didn't have great support of technology. By the time 2002 came, we were quite good with technologies, and we kind of knew that what we want to have in our shoots, what kind of technology we would need to have. And till now, 2021, anything and everything is there on internet. You just need to Google it and to understand it. But in these 3 decades, what I have understood is the essence remains the same. You have to have the feeling of capturing anything has to be from your heart. The moment you feel that moment is happening, not just as a camera person you are capturing it, but capture it as a family member. Just try and understand that feeling of how the parents are going through, how the bride and groom are feeling, what they are feeling, and how exactly things are going to be. The moment you start feeling that, you feel that the story becomes automatically. So essence would remain always the same, that you have to be patient and you have to be really observing on the field all the time and be alert, attentive.
Okay, so if I was to summarize, you're saying the tools will keep changing, the tools will keep evolving, but the core always has to be the emotion that you're trying to capture. Right? Did I summarize that right?
Perfectly.
But if that's the case, then for the next 20, 30 years, nothing's going to change. This is always going to be consistent.
I would say it would change. Not that emotions would remain the same. The father would feel the same when he's giving his daughter away. He would feel the same way what fathers used to feel 30 years back. So it's not that the feeling is going to change, but then the upgradation on how and how we have weaved that into our story would change. So that is going to be technological upgrade, or probably you can say that's the need of the hour at that point in time. So that would of course keep on changing, and that has to change.
Okay, okay. Lovely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll quickly move on to makeup. Right? In the last 10 years, I mean, oh my God, I mean, you already spent a decade in this industry.
Yes.
Okay. And in the last 10 years, what's one technology upgrade that got you so excited?
I think more than technology, I think what really got the youngsters excited was the internet. We saw a sudden boom of how Facebook took over and how the Instagram took over to kind of make our work to reach out to 1 million people. When we started off in 2011, there was a mere YouTube to kind of share your videos on, and that was a way of giving it to the client, say hey, go out and share it with your friends and family. But I think somewhere in 2013 it is where there was a Facebook jump, where everybody wanted a wedding film to be uploaded on your Facebook. They wanted the world to see their wedding. Was suddenly a norm that we saw, and then how Instagram changed the face of how weddings also started to shoot, right? Like today, we have requirements of brides coming up to us that, hey, we want 10 reels. Now suddenly shooting vertically was not the norm of how a wedding is shot. So I think something that we've seen how internet has taken a big role in our work, reaching out. At the same time, it's a high pressure because earlier brides and grooms didn't really know what the other person's wedding looked like, right? Like today, even if you're not attending a wedding, you yet know what someone's wedding looked like. So I think the added pressure to, I think, every photographer that has grown over the time because technology has taken its own pace and has grown. I'm sure from your normal cameras, we moved on to DSLRs, to your 4Ks. So we've obviously upgraded with technology, but I think the biggest shift that I've seen is how internet has taken over and Instagram has changed the way wedding videos look like.
Okay, so to be honest, the wedding album is quite an antique. Right? Nobody looks forward to the album per se, because the videos and the rushes that you share in advance, that itself creates a buzz. So,
I would differ from that because now being on the other side of being a bride, when you yet receive a wedding album, which is a large 12 by 18 or a 12 by 15 size, I think that's when Indians are so attached to the touch and feel factor that as much as you may love seeing everything on the internet and love seeing everything on your mobile phone, but when that one printed copy comes to your home and that's something that is viewed by your parents and by the elders of the family, I think there's no more joy to kind of keep in your home or on your coffee table book side that you have a book of your biggest day of your life. So as much as I also say that internet makes us see all of them, but a hard copy, a physical copy makes you relive it in the most beautiful manner, which today internet cannot do so, I yet feel.
True, true, true. So on the internet, a lot of other content might just drown this. But yes, my
Your friends and family to do your stuff on internet, but at the end of the day, when it's something so close to you, you always want to go down to that one book of yours and relive and that touch and feel. And when you have more conversations with that product, I think the album is more of a conversation for me, saying at this moment this happened, right? It's like an extension to, summarizing what happened at that moment. So I think that only happens in a storytelling, like radio albums, they have to be in storytelling.
So, just is there a process that you follow to create a story? In filmmaking, that is story. And in weddings, we know what is going to happen next. But in that sense, how do you storyboard and create something new every time you step out?
See, pre-wedding we create a storyboard. In wedding we don't create a storyboard. In wedding, you see the stories happening everywhere. Even on the road, if you're going, a story is happening everywhere. It's how you see it. And wedding, a lot of stories are happening. It's like when the decor is happening, you can shoot when the decor is happening. When people are serving, people are enjoying. There's a lot of stories happening in a wedding. So it's your perception, how you shoot it. There are so many stories happening. I've seen kids are the most, fascinating in a wedding. They enjoy the most. And even the elders, the way they bless their loved ones and all. There's a lot of stories happening around in the wedding. You just have to watch it minutely and you'll see like hundreds of stories happening.
True, very true. I still remember at one of the weddings, the bride's father actually got his friend and pulled the chair for him and said, surprise coming. And that was so raw, that was so beautiful. He was going to dance for his daughter, and he got his friends to sit in a place so that they could sit and see the surprises that he was doing for them. So yes, there are raw emotions.